You know what? I would fare well in a race, I think, against them, but I am
Ooh,
gonna kind
talking
of
spicy
save
right
myself
now.
for. I don't really get starstruck around too many people. I think I've always said the only person in the world who I'd probably get starstruck around is Derek Jeter, and I think I hold true to that statement. Definitely it leaves me kind of wondering whether the him posting to his story is like, super hot pots, don't hit me up, whether that is more so like him continuing to be the showman that he is. But I was so curious as to like Justin Gatlin made those comments about like how the top track athlete retires and then all of a sudden like that's it, like track doesn't set you up for life after track. So it's like until something changes. Now that's nice of Justin Gatlin to say, but it would have been better if he would have said something in the moment.
I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Possible, always with the brother with the same mother, Aaron Potts, Super Hot Potts, and your favorite two black runners coming at you every single
Two black, two. Ooh.
Oh. Good, bro? Hold on. Wait.
Tuesday. Okay, that was a rough one. I was on a boat this weekend for my boy's birthday, so my voice is kind of going.
Hey, that's the whole reason right there why we're doing a For the Real Ones this week, and really just coming to y'all raw, straight up, like, this is what we got for this week. Not saying that we can, this is what we got, you feel me? We're not selling out or anything like that because we got an amazing guest there. We got an amazing
the best, the one and only, the legend.
The legend, bruh. Everybody knows him. Citius Mag, Sports Illustrated. The man does it all. The voice of track and field, people would call him, Definitely the keyboards of track and field, Chris Chavez has joined us on the podcast For the Real Ones to just really kick back, talk about everything. Just first off, Chris, how you doing, bro? How you doing on this Sunday as we're coming out on this Tuesday?
I'm good. I noticed this is episode 88. I forget what was I on. Like, this is my second appearance on this podcast. Wow. And I feel like the first time around, I must have been maybe in the early single digits. I don't want to give myself too credit, but I was on the Two Black Runners bandwagon very early.
Below 20 for sure.
Oh,
below,
okay.
Maybe
all right,
even
I'll
below
take that.
15.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
You're 27.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm an early on person. I got in before the 100. I think at this point, yeah. I mean, people are riding the wave. The stock is high on you guys, and so I'm always happy to kick it with you guys to talk track.
Oh man, we appreciate it. You've been busy. You've been busy recently, bro. Like the Trials of Miles just happened this past week, and we know you're going into a busy schedule as we're going to be at the end of this week. But let's start there, bro. Trials of Miles, New York City, Icon Stadium, Cade Flatt almost breaking the national record, Juliette Whittaker breaking 2 minutes, a national record for Mexico in the 1500. There was a beer mile, a celebrity mile. There was everything you could really imagine at Icon Stadium, and even a weather delay. So how was Trials of Miles?
Yeah, so the weather delay obviously was the part that made things a little bit interesting. I was nervous on my way going up to the stadium. I was like, is this meet going to happen? I really hope it does. But once things cleared up and we were able to get the community finals underway, like originally there was a plan for like 6 or something different heats of people to chase PRs and, just local New York City people to run. And then, from there, they get to fill the stands and the pros get to compete in front of an audience, which was something that last year when we did this meet in New York City, especially in Texas, too, with the first Trials of Miles and Citius Mag meet, it was no spectators. And so this time around, we definitely wanted to fill the stands a little bit. The weather complicated things. And then the next day was the Brooklyn Half Marathon. So we knew that there were runners in town, but it wasn't the ideal sort of situation to pack the stands and have, 5,000 or whatever it is people there. But overall, I mean, I thought it was an entertaining night of races. We waited 364 days to get back behind the mic. Kyle Merber and I to call the races, and then Allie Feller to do the sideline interviews. And so it was great because, last year these meets came about as to fill a place in the schedule where there wasn't really much going on, as the athletes are trying to prepare for the Tokyo Olympics and the US Olympic trials, just giving the athletes an opportunity to chase those qualifying marks. And nowadays, if you look at the calendar, there's a track meet happening every single weekend on US soil. It could be a sound running meet. It could be an American track league meet. It could be, so we were kind of, when we were thinking of how we were going to go about bringing this back, it was more so like, we really don't have the energy to, hit 3 different meets once again. And, especially with the calendar so jam packed, the Diamond League is back in full force. And so World Athletics has its own sort of continental tour as well. So the world ranking points and all that stuff are up for grabs at those bigger meets. That for a newer meet to come around, like it's good in some ways to provide opportunity, period. But I think for the pro side of things, the opportunity is already out there. So we put all our eggs into doing one meet and also making it fun once again. Like last year, we had a blast in the 3 times that we did it. And the New York City one was capped with me getting my butt kicked by Malcolm Gladwell. But so this time around, I was like, I'm not ready to return to the track and do that again. And we'll save a rematch until Gladwell is 60 years old. But so we kind of got innovative. The NA Beer Mile came along when Athletic Brewing stepped in. The Celebrity Exhibition Mile was cool. We got Neve Schulman, who was on your podcast, to run as well.
He basically got the win. He basically won.
And he almost did.
He won.
He catfished the winner, bro.
What he was going to do. Yeah. So that was fun to see.
Is that what you said, Aaron?
Yeah, he catfished the winner, basically. Made it seem like he was the winner.
Yeah. And then, the thing was, the weather is so unpredictable at Icon Stadium sometimes. Like it can be really windy. It could be really humid. And after the rain cleared out, it provided honestly perfect conditions for people to run fast. And we saw it right from the get-go with, the women's 800 and Juliette Whittaker and Cade Flatt really doing something special to cement themselves as the second fastest high school 800 meter runners of all time. And so it was awesome. And from there on, just Kyle and I getting to, chat behind the mic and call a track meet. It's just, we that's how we would spend our Friday nights if we had the option to.
Yeah, it was super fun to watch y'all. And I really like how you incorporated the NA Beer Mile and the Celebrity Mile. It reminded me back when me and Joshua did club, they used to do parent relays, and they would do a parent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the coaches and the parents would go and they run like a 4x1. And it was so fun to watch that. So I think that has to be in what you did last year, that has to be the first ever celebrity.
They need to do more of those
event. That needs to be at more meets, I feel like.
Yeah, it's cool because it's unpredictable sometimes. I honestly didn't know, aside from knowing what Chris Robertson's actual personal bests are and how successful he is as a runner, that maybe it was the ringer in that race that we knew he was probably going to win. But the dude from Survivor, Xander Hastings, who is a former Division III runner and competed on the show a couple seasons back, honestly surprised me. We had quite a couple people break 5 minutes in that heat that I was like, yeah, I mean, all these people would have won last year's race with Gladwell. So I don't know what the future holds for next year. It is entertaining, and it kind of is always funny to see what the chat picks up on YouTube. It's like, is that the dude from Catfish? Yeah, it is. And he's running a mile here on a Friday night.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't see more Bachelor people in there, like Matt James. I seen him running the New York City. He ran the New York City Marathon. We need to get these Bachelor folks in here as well. Was it Tasha?
Yeah. Tasha's in New York, and so is my good friend Zach Clark and Matt James, who I've run with in the past as well. So yeah, I mean, maybe next year we got to come up with some sort of. Are you
calling them out right now, Chris? Is that what I'm hearing?
You know what? I would fare well in a race, I think, against them, but I am gonna kind of save myself I'm gonna save myself for the Gladwell rematch in 2 years. He's 58 now, I think. So we got 2 more years, and it'll put me at 30. Yeah.
Chris, you better not lose to this man, bro. Do not lose 60? To this man. Don't lose to him at 60. I wouldn't him
if he beats me at 60. No matter what, listen.
That's impressive. He does.
I ended up being the person laughing to the bank with this whole situation. People can make jokes all they want about the Gladwell mile, but I monetized the video on YouTube. And so those 250,000 views like amount for a good couple $100, and I'm the one who gets it. So like I'm the one who has the last laugh in that situation.
Wait, can we say something real quick, Chris? So you raced against Malcolm Gladwell, your good friend Zach Clark, you got Xander, and how do you know all these random celebrities?
That's what I'm saying.
Bro? Like,
why wasn't Matt James in this mile?
Why were you in a race with Malcolm Gladwell? Like, I was like, how do you know?
It's New York. Honestly, it's New York. And sometimes it's just, people, you just never know. The catchphrase is, I love track and field. You just never know who else loves track and field, and sometimes stumbles upon a piece of content, gets hooked, and follows what Citius Mag does. And when I see, that they follow the account, sometimes I'll reach out and be like, hey, what's the deal? Like, do you love track? Like, did you run it as a kid or something growing up? And so that's how I go about introducing myself to some of these people. I'm not afraid to talk to anyone really. And also I don't really get starstruck around too many people. I think I've always said the only person in the world who I'd probably get starstruck around is Derek Jeter. And I think I hold true to that statement. Like, he was my idol growing up as a diehard Yankee fan. And to this day, like, no runner would ever kind of wow me to the point of what that guy did for me in terms of just creating these awesome memories of all these championships growing up. I'm a spoiled little Yankee fan.
I feel that, like, for me, it's the only person is like Bernard Lagat. Low key, the first time I met him, I was like, yo, this is Lagat. Like,
yeah,
I was like trying to be like him, emulate him, all of that.
Wait, so Aaron, do you feel like the reason why we haven't had him on the podcast yet is because you're afraid to DM him, or what?
Yo, I'm nervous.
I think you can make it happen.
I think we could get him. I feel like I've seen him multiple times now. Like, I'm good now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would definitely be gassing him up so much if he ever came on the podcast. Like, I'd give the best 2 Black Tuesday ever. We got Bernard.
You rest the vocal cords a couple days beforehand, exactly. And you hold that note for a good, 2 minutes or something like that.
As we talk more trials and miles and just the Meet Icon Stadium, another 2 crazy things happens. Like you mentioned it, the 2 fastest. Juliette Whittaker set number 2 all time for the high school 800, 159.8. And Cade Flatt goes out there, 140. Was it 146? 5 something, 146.5, like 0.06 afterward, 0.06 off. And afterwards on Instagram, he posts on his story at Super Hot Pots, don't hit me up. Aaron, would you like to address this situation, or do you want to wait till tomorrow? We can talk about it now. You want to talk about it now, or we'll talk about it in the Running Report show?
I mean, we could talk about it here. This is the real ones, this one's for the real ones. So this is where they get everything here.
Well, let's go to Chris first. Chris, you were there. You saw it in person. We watched it on TV. I didn't think he was going to really get it that day. I was like, I don't know. You feel like, we'll see what really happens. But once he got on the backstretch, 300 to go, I was like, dang, he looks good. Last like 50 meters, I was like, oh yeah, he's getting this record. Barely missed it. How was it when you watching it live?
Well, that was the thing I was most bummed about when I got in like the Uber in the pouring rain was like, man, like, I don't think Cade's going to be able to break the record in this weather. And, we get to the stadium and the rain did sort of calm down a bit. It was just lightning that we had to wait to pass. And it is funny because Cade was messaging Kyle Merber is like, when should I be warming up for my race? Cause like, when is my race going to happen? And so without maybe a little bit of an input from Kyle telling him like, hey, your race is going to be at this time, like you should maybe warm up around this, then who knows if he would have got this close. I'm only sort of kidding in that sense because as soon as the race went off, he was patient. Like he went out slower than the lead pack of the runners from the district track club. And after the first lap, you're kind of like, okay, he's playing it smart here. And then, as you said, Josh, with 300 meters to go, that's when we really knew that we had a close race on our hands. And I honestly thought he got it. Just the way he ran that final 100, he was coming up on those pros, and it's not that common that he has people to chase down that late into a race, and so that definitely helped. I think what kind of maybe did hurt was the fact that he did have to veer out into lane 2 a little bit down that final home stretch. And so who knows? I mean, you could play what is .06 for an 800 in terms of just where he could have made that up. It could have been just, hugging tight on the inside lane down that final stretch. Could that have been the difference between that and the record? The good thing is that he's got a couple more opportunities to break this. And so I believe there's discussion of whether he's going to run at New Balance Outdoor Nationals. And so hopefully the plan there would be that, they know what's going to happen, that he won indoors. And so just got this close, at the Trials of Miles meet, that you just got to throw in a kid to pace that race, and a fellow high school kid. And now maybe that dispels a little bit of the banter that's going on. Is like, oh, if he would have done it against pros, then the old school track fans would have been like, well, it's a high school kid who got it against pros. It's not Michael Granville who ran it in, the first round of his high school meet against other high school kids all by himself. Like, that is iconic. And so this time around, maybe he does have to do it with a rabbit, but it'll come possibly against other high school runners, because that's what the rest of the season indicates. But no, I thought it was great. I thought his interviews afterwards were awesome. And, definitely it leaves me kind of wondering whether him posting to his story is like, super hot pots, don't hit me up, whether that is more so like him continuing to be the showman that he is. He's a really nice kid. Like, if you have a conversation with him, and he definitely puts on, the UFC fighter mentality and like this big sort of bravado when it comes to his antics before and after the track. But if you do have a conversation with him, he means totally well. He's super nice. And so I'm definitely more curious, Aaron, what in the DMs, was it nicer? Like, it was just sort of like, nah, dude, we're cool, but I got to keep this act up. Or was he literally like, don't talk to me anymore?
Wait, Aaron, before you go, I want to set it up for people that don't know why he really said that. It's because a week before this race, we had him on Trackish, our mile split show. We interviewed him like 15 minutes. Interview went great. Aaron at the end of it was all like, Cade Flatt, you're my favorite runner now. That's literally words that came out of this man's mouth. The next Wednesday, we're talking about it, previewing the race on the Running Report show. Colin Solomon's racing at the Distance Classic on Thursday. Cade Flatt's racing the 800 the next day. And Aaron's all like, Colin Solomon will break the 800 meter national record this Thursday at the Distance Classic.
The only person saying that, by the way, he was totally solo, one man megaphone on a street corner. Like, when you see some of those crazy people on the streets yelling with signs, and like, usually they have like 2 or 3 other people with them. But in this case, like, no. Aaron was alone in this statement.
This man has become Skip Bayless of the track and field world for the past week. Aaron, how's it feel?
Bro, I mean, I got Chalimo want the hands, Simmons want these hands, and now Cade Flatt, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just another one on the list. But no, bro, like, bro, I still think he is one of my favorite runners for sure. He still is my favorite runner. I just think there's some guys that could run. I don't think he's gonna need a pacer if he's in the right race with the right people. I think there's some people that can push him and get close to that 146. Or run under it as well. I think there's some other high schoolers that are capable. That's all I'm saying by that. I wasn't trying to throw shade at him or nothing. But he said, don't hit me up. So I didn't hit this man up. He said, you don't want to. I didn't hit him up. I didn't say nothing. All I did was post my stuff, my story on my Instagram story, and I didn't DM or nothing because, hey, he said, I'm going to follow that man's wishes. But that dude is like my favorite athlete for sure. And that dude is must-see TV. That dude is a star.
He's changed it to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys that because like it is really cool to see that, it just all it takes is a little bit of personality from a track athlete, and all of a sudden they're captivating to other people. Like, I have friends of mine who are just they just follow, general running. They run marathons, half marathons, and because they're my friends, they'll tune into what I do sometimes. And a couple of them tuned into the Trials of Miles meet on Friday night, and I did get a text, moments later. It was like, that Cade Flatt kid, like first time I've ever seen him run, like huge fan. And so he's hooking people because of sort of bringing that. You read his Instagram captions. It's like, it is sort of how, a fighter would go into every single one of his big matches. And so I would, the catchphrase, what, good for the sport? Cade Flatt, good for the sport, I think.
He reminds me of Fred Curley. Like in the way and how he carries himself in a little
very
bit.
Similarly.
Like, I'm going for this, like it's kill or be killed. Like type of mentality, which is like, and people love Fred Curley for that. And it's just like, it seems like Fred Curley doesn't talk much, but he has so much personality without really like you seeing him being interviewed or anything like that. So Cade Flatt's just doing it from another angle, which I love. And I would love to. I'll be your Skip Bayless, bro. Like, come on, like we could go at it. I don't know. He said, "Don't hit me up if the beef's real, if the beef's fake." I don't know. I guess I won't know until we see each other in person. And
I can't wait for that day. I can't wait for that day. Hopefully he goes to USA's, and races there, and then
he's close. I think he might do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can all chop it up. You feel me? That'll be lit.
Sticking on the 800 right now, like I've been meaning to tell you, Joshua, like the 800 is just so amazing this year on the younger side. I want to talk about Juliette Whittaker too, running 159.8, and like a couple podcasts ago, we were on the Gill podcast, shout out, and we were talking about how the women's the 2-minute barrier in the 800 for women can become like the 4-minute mile in like high school, because you got so many women are high school girls like running 208 is not that fast anymore. Like it's fast, but there's so many girls that are running 205s, 204s. You're seeing that in high school. And now Juliette's the second person. I think Sophia is going to break it by the time she's out for sure. I think Rosine will break it, and that's just going to continue. It's going to be like the 4-minute mile. It's like, yeah, you can break 2 in high school.
Yeah, the thing about the mile though is that it's just so universal, and like it's what people ran in gym class and all that stuff, and also just like the round number of 4 minutes 60 seconds per lap. Like it's so poetic, and like it makes sense. Now to sell just kind of like the average person on like, hey, yeah, 800 two laps, like there it's sort of it they really can't. Half a mile maybe is, I guess, like how you can, maybe push them to what it is. And so that's the tricky part with marketing it. Like there's always the debate as to what is the equivalent of the 4-minute mile for women, whether it's like 4:32 or 4:36 or something like that. So, this definitely should be a much bigger deal than people, have made of. Gary Martin is amazing, and what he did was phenomenal doing it solo against high school kids. But for Juliette Whittaker to go out there and beat a whole field of pros, and that's a strong field of people who she beat. She beat a world championship qualifier in Olivia Baker. She beat, there was Brenna Detra from the BAA also broke 2 minutes. Olivia Baker broke 2 minutes in that race. I don't think enough is being made of the fact that Sophia Gorrian ran 2 flat as well. Like I know it gets hit in
opener.
Outdoor opener in 8.
That race is truly special. We put it up on YouTube for people to see, live, and maybe you can link to it in the show notes or embed it in whatever sort of post, because it needs to get out there and seen more. Like when we posted the clip of it on our Twitter feed right after the race happened, like it's been shared pretty widely. I have to check and see what the numbers were. I'm sure it's 50,000 plus views of the last like 200 meters of that race, but it's so impressive what Juliette Whittaker does. And I think like this was finally the shining moment that she needed in the 800. We've seen what she was able to do in the mile during the indoor season. She's a strong runner who can, win a mile race wire to wire from the very beginning. But for the 200, for the 800 in particular, she was always kind of just knocking on the door of 201, had never gotten sort of into that 2 flat sort of range. And she just says she's going to skip right over it entirely and get to 159, which was, it's fast. There's been so many stars, even a Thing Mo over the last couple of years couldn't do it. But now, Mary Cain's record has stood for a while, and this is the closest someone has come. And Mary Cain was a big deal. We talked about Cain's sanity for weeks during that, stretch that she had where she was on fire and won the US titles. So, I really do hope that the momentum keeps going for not just Juliette, but also to, the other 2 that you mentioned with Roisin Willis and Sophia Gorrian, because these girls deserve a lot more of a spotlight. Like the Newburgh Park kids, like when they go to a track meet, they're just swarmed by fans and fellow high school kids. And it's cool. It's great. It's cool to see, but like these girls are doing just as amazing things. And that's why we decided to do like a short video feature during the indoor seasons because we're in a really awesome moment right now. And the plus side of it is that Sophia gets a whole nother year to try and break these records.
Crazy.
And so that's the craziest part to it all, I think.
Bro, 150, like for me, when I was in high school, when I broke 2 minutes, like that was a big deal for me. You know, like when I did that, like first I was like, dang, like finally I got that. But to do that as a girl in high school, I don't mean like there's pros that are still searching for that moment of breaking 2 minutes and they already do it. It's just, it's so wild. And Juliette, just hats off to you. Congrats to you and Sophia and Roisin. Once you guys do it, I'm gonna just send my congrats like right now. Cause I think that is just a moment waiting to happen. They're all searching for that. They probably have it written on their wall everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's just an amazing moment. Like you said, deserves so much more credit. And yeah,
it makes it interesting to think of like, where is Sophia going to decide to go to college? Because, you know, the other two are going to Stanford. And so that's already one half of a really strong 4x8 or even like a DMR team down the road, because like, you know, we've seen Sophia run the 400 at New Balance indoors. And so she's got some awesome range with its 400, you know, 800 mile. And, you know, with the other two, they're just so strong. And so, yeah, if Sophia decides to end up going to Stanford, then that is sort of like the next big team to sort of watch. And hopefully, you know, that they just continue to develop really well with their training over the next couple of years, because yeah, like we said, like a couple of years back, it was Thingmo was awesome. And years before that, it was Mary Kane. And now it's funny because we got three, you know, really talented girls sharing that spotlight. And the best part is they race head to head. They're really good friends off the track, and they go up against these pros and they beat them sometimes. So yeah, I mean, it's a great moment that we're in.
And all those people you mentioned went pro early. A thing 1 year in school, Mary King right out of college, LJ Wilson, she didn't break 2, but right out of college. So it's like, how serious of a contender is like Juliette? We don't know yet. But or Roisin Willis or Sophia, especially Sophia,
it's gonna be
hard,
talk
about
bro.
Next year. It's like, are they actual
like
threats
on the US team?
Yeah, it's like, do I run juniors or do I run against the pros and see where I line up? You know,
I feel like they should run USA's just for the fact, because like USA's, it's gonna be so hard. Like the women's 800 is so competitive. I think Mo hasn't opened up in the 8 yet this year, but you already got Ajay. Ajay has done an outdoor 8, but it was like windy in Bermuda. But Raven has already ran 158, and she doesn't even open up that fast, like early ever. And then Allie Wilson's ran 158.
She's the world leader right now. Yeah. Yeah. So you got three. You have 3 medalists.
Nia Higgins.
Yeah. You have 3 medalists, a world leader, and then someone else who's broken 159, and then a slew of women who have broken 2 minutes. And so, yeah, I mean, it's always one of the hardest teams to make at the U.S. Championships. I think, honestly, with you guys being at USA's and when you guys do baton talk, I think just walking around the streets of Eugene, putting a mic in people's face and asking them, who's your women's 8? Like for Worlds, you would get so many different answers. So that's one of my favorite games to play, even like among members of the media. I remember doing it fondly in 2016 with like some of the other people in the mix zone. It was every day. Where's your head at? How's it changed? Women's 8, who you got?
That can definitely be it. But talking about the USA team, talking about World Championships, coming Eugene, our Next Stop Oregon segment coming up this summer. Chris, you know, 2,000 of the world's best track and field athletes will compete for titles at the first ever World Athletics Championships on U.S. soils. And for preparation leading up to this monumental meeting, we have our Next Stop Oregon segment where we focus our attention on the world stage. And Chris, for you, covering the World Championships on U.S. soil for the first time ever, what does that mean to you, man?
So honestly, like it's gonna be the first ever World Championships I've covered. Like that's the crazy part is like I've been covering track for 10 years and I've never been to a World Championships. Like I've been to the Olympics in 2016, but never Worlds. And I think it'll be super special that my first ever World Championships happens to come on U.S. soil. I think I'm particularly excited to just see like welcome so many international faces and people to Tracktown USA, because you know we've been to the pre-classic before, we've been to Olympic trials, and it's very like US centric and US heavy in those settings. But to walk around. I've been to Penn Relays before, and the Jamaican fans when they're there. Now I'm wondering, like, what's that going to be like? Is there going to be a huge crowd of like Norwegian fans there for like Carson Wahlholm, or like, you know, a slew of Indian fans there for, you know, who is it? Chopra, the javelin thrower. Yeah. So I am excited to see just like who shows up, and it's going to be a huge party. I think like it's for us kind of like working and creating content and all that stuff. Like it's going to be a lot of sleepless nights, but you know what? The best part is we'll sleep when it's over. Like this is the first time ever the World Championships are coming here. So I'm excited. We've got plans for a Citius Mag house that'll be happening during the World Championships, where every day we're going to have some sort of programming taking place. So we're finalizing our plans with that, but I'm excited, and I'm glad that you guys are going to be there, because like you guys make everything fun.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like just being around so many track fans at one time, especially coming off of like everything with COVID to this. Do you feel like this track season is going by quicker than last year? Because for me, I'm like, damn, are we already almost at USA's?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so fast right now. Like the fact that we're almost at June, like that blows my mind. Just because, like, you know, it's crazy to think that the Olympics were less than a year ago, but we're already like gearing up for the next big thing. And that's just kind of like this special point of this cycle that we're in. When we're coming off, it was Olympics, Worlds, and then another Olympics. So like it is the best time to get in on becoming a track and field fan, because you've got so much, like, again, kind of what I said at the top of the show, where there's just so many things to watch nowadays. It's like there's Diamond Leagues happening on like Thursdays or Fridays, or even like a Saturday morning, and you've got, you know, track meets happening on Friday nights on the East and the West Coast, and so conference meets and NCAAs and high school meets. Like so much is happening that there's no shortage of it. I think the hardest part is keeping up with all of it.
Most definitely. And I was going to ask you, what event are you most excited to look for? But I always know you can never pick one event. Like nobody can. There's so many to choose for. But I want to ask you this. You can pick as many celebrities as you want. And we're talking about earlier about the connections that you got, Chris. Who do you want to see at the World Championships taking in this? Because I feel like when we go to NBA games or something, the NBA games, the finals, like right now, Lil Wayne sitting on the sidelines for the Mavs versus
tweeting and talking trash.
Golden State Warriors. I'm trying to see Lil Wayne at World Championships. What a celebrity would you like to see at World Championships taking in all this track business?
Yeah, that's a good question. But like, you know, part of me is like, yeah, I want someone who's like actually like appreciative of like what is, you know, taking place and happening. Yeah. Like Magic Johnson, I know he put out those tweets as like, when are the U.S. Olympic track trials? And, you know, a lot of people responded, myself included. And, you know, I hope that there was an invitation extended to him. But, you know, to get someone like that in the stands who can hopefully, you know, fire off a couple tweets about what's happening to their audience. I mean, you know, it's interesting because like if you just want to get eyeballs, then like you go for a person with a huge following. Like, you know, I don't know, what if Kanye West showed up to Eugene and was watching? He's rocked a USATF sweater in the past. Like he's been photographed wearing one of those. And just like, I don't know, like you just don't know who can get hooked on being a track fan or knows of one of the athletes sort of competing. Like it's funny because like the Carson Wahlholm, I think, posted a photo. I think it's through a Puma connection or something like that. But he's gone, and same thing with Lamont Jacobs and who is it? Mutaz Barshim. Like they've gone to the F1 races, and so they've gotten to go into the paddock and hang out with the likes of like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. And so what if those guys decided to return the favor and go to a track meet? I think that would be pretty fun. And you know, it's not all that different. It's on a different kind of track, and instead of cars, it's human beings racing. You know, what we just saw with the Miami Grand Prix in Formula One, where it's just celebrity. Like, yeah, it was cool and all that, but I think at the end of the day, like the most entertaining part of it is what happens on the track. And so keeping as much of the attention on that and really just amplifying and boosting the storytelling around that is solely, I think, what I hope happens, because it is cool to see someone sitting in the stands, but if they're just not really enjoying it, then like, I don't know, like it was really that worth, you know, putting them in there. They're it's also Eugene, like it's a hard sell for like a A-list celebrity.
So that's why Chris is really calling out all of you guys to go to Eugene and take up their seat. Because if Michael Jordan's not going to come, you need to come and be at Eugene. So be a part of history at Hayward Field at University of Oregon, July 15th through the 24th. Get your tickets now at WorldChampsOregon2022.com and take Magic Johnson's seat because he ain't coming, bro.
And I think, I don't know, I think I might be wrong, but they're selling single day tickets now, right? I think, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, fans should definitely look into the tickets because it's going to be must watch.
Yeah, then before we get you out of here, Chris, we just have a few things that we're going to talk about. This in track news and everything like that as we close out the For the Real Ones podcast. And one thing I want to talk about and what I've really noticed, this goes to you, Aaron, is that like, bro, like, I feel like for the past 2 weeks, track has been everywhere. Like, and like literally everywhere, every time. Maybe it's just because I'm getting in like, what is it called? Filter bubble. There we go. I'm in the bubble of being in track and field, but I'm literally seeing like Sports Center, Overtime, Highlighter, even Complex, like posting about the little girl losing his shoe, running everybody down to 200. And I've seen a high school girl falling off the first hurdle. They're running everyone down. Then I've seen the kid running 100, holding a selfie the entire time.
I've seen that so many times this year.
I've seen the kid hiding in the 4x4 saying you don't want to run. Like, I'm seeing so many different videos about track and field. And I'm all like, dang, is track and it popular? Or like, or people really love these like track and field videos? Why aren't they watching the pros and stuff? Like, I don't know. I just feel like the opportunity for people to love track is there. And like,
yeah, I think the little girl who like lost her shoe and ended up winning the race, like she is going to be at the pre-classic. Yeah, I think she's going to be at the pre-classic. I think they extended some sort of invitation or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you just never know. Like when one of these viral videos like pops off, like what happens? Like we posted the video of the girl who falls in the hurdle, like after the first one or the second one, and then still goes on to win the race. Like that one's gotten 100-something thousand views on our TikTok page. And yeah, I mean, you just never know. Sometimes the silly stuff really does well because people are just kind of like blown away. But I've also kind of like, to your point, Joshua, maybe it is because we're just sort of in it and we also pay attention to just like how things perform, like how a YouTube video does or how many, views or likes something gets on a Instagram or TikTok. But I think there's something cool to be said about like if you frame things the right way. And I like when I'm doing some of the stuff on TikTok for Citius Mag, like, yeah, I mean, like Darius Kipiego running 4:05 for the mile is great. But if you phrase it as like high school junior runs 4:05 for the mile, like that's when people are like, what? Like I'm a high school junior and I just ran like 8 minutes for the mile in like gym class or something like that. Or it's like sort of like high school girl beats professional field of 800 meter running. 800 meter runner. It's like there's a way of making some of these things interesting to the casual sort of sports fan. And yeah, you do have to dumb it down sometimes, but there's two ways of playing it. You can dumb it down, but also give the context of to the real fans as to why it's important and also like showcase in a really special, nice way. So yeah, I mean, it could be just kind of like that. Our phones listen to us and everything that we do and know to serve us up some track highlights on our Instagram page. But yeah, I mean, if it's being everywhere right now, then hopefully people somehow find out that there's a world championships coming up.
I think though too, it's a telling because I feel like some of the like stuff they've been putting up is like reminds me of something that I could see like in the early RR days, RIP to our old Instagram. It reminds me of some of the like posts that we would put up. So just seeing like a Bleacher Report or like highlight her or like those Instagram accounts doing it, I'm like, oh, okay, like this means a little something. I think this means something. We're headed in some type of direction, but you definitely can make track interesting and like fun and like.
Has there been any Shaderoom posts for track?
Hey, Sha'Carri just raced.
Bro, I had to stop following Shaderoom. I ain't even gonna lie.
Just too many posts.
It was too many posts. It was just getting too much gossip that I didn't need to hear about. And I was just like, I'm done.
I think I muted it, but they still follow me, I think.
Hey, Shaderoom Chris.
Shaderoom Chris is back. It's
in full effect. Hey, let's talk about that too as we talk about some hottest track news. Sha'Carri Richardson is back, bro. Maybe we'll see what she does. I think believe she opened up, was it 11:27? 11:27 in the 100. Like at a weird American track league kind of Duval County meet, like sort of ran the 100 and came back like 100 that wasn't even scheduled and ran it. But she's back. She had her Nike uniform bedazzled. I don't know if that was legal, but hey, she was looking good wearing it. Chris, how do you feel about Sha'Carri Richardson being back on the running team?
I was so curious as to like what all the early season scratches were all about, and I don't think we've gotten the answers behind that just quite yet. And so yeah, there's still a lot that's kind of mind-boggling behind the season that Sha'Carri is having, but I think she's gonna come around at the right time. Like, you just can't discount her for how talented she is. Like the fact that she finished the pre-classic and still ran, what was it, like 11:14 or something like that, like jogging it in towards the end. I know it's like I'm not worried. I'm not hitting the panic button when it comes to Sha'Carri, but it is sort of like she can't just coast into the US championships. Like, she's actually going to have to try because there is so many talented women right now in the 100 that it's going to be competitive, and you can't just rest on your laurels based off what you did last year. Because the best part about the US championships is there's always the surprise. Sha'Carri can surprise us by running fast, and she can also surprise us by not making the team period. I mean, we saw that in 2019 already with her. Like, she ran really well in the NCAAs and at the SEC championships, and then faded at the US championships in the final. So hopefully we get the good version of Sha'Carri showing up to the US championships, and then things are turning around in the right direction. But I would say maybe a B- season opener by all standards, based off of the fact that we're seeing someone like Shelly Ann run 10-6 for a season opener. Like, that's an A+ season opener. An A season opener is maybe what Elaine Thompson's putting together. Yeah. So by comparison, yeah, I guess maybe I give Sha'Carri, what did I say? B-?
Yeah, you said B-.
Yeah, B-, maybe. Yeah.
I'm just surprised you're not hitting the panic button. I was low-key hitting the panic button like a month and a half ago. But she's back now. Maybe I'm not hitting it as much, but I'm low-key kind of panicking still.
I'm gonna make a comparison right now, dude. Sha'Carri Richardson is like the best thing for track and field right now, 100%. Like, everything, the world stops when she decides to come and race, or when she speaks on Twitter, it's so loud. Everyone hears it. And like, she is the Kanye West of track and field, bro. She is Kanye. Because Kanye, he might drop a song, like he hasn't dropped music in a while, right? He'll drop a song, it's poopity scoop, and you're like, bro, I hate Kanye. Or he'll go on Twitter, say something crazy, and it's like, bro, Kanye, why are you doing this? And then he delivers Donda, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is the GOAT. Like, I love Kanye. So it's just like, she's so polarizing and talented, and I'm just excited for her story. Whether she runs fast or whether she runs slow, it's something to talk about, bro. Because you can never count her out.
Well, the other thing too is just sort of like, is she someone who knows to perform like when the most eyes are on her? Like, last year, the U.S. Olympic trials are obviously like the biggest thing, and she knew to turn on in that moment and blew up because she had Michelle Obama tweeting about her and stuff, and that is like that's huge. Is Michelle Obama or any of those people who really jumped on the bandwagon watching the American Track League? No, they're not. And so like, for her, it's just like, if I do bad at one of these meets, like, yeah, maybe sure the track heads like know that I'm not coming into this race like my sharpest, and that, but when I show up to the US championships, you're gonna get ready because I'm gonna put on the show. So that's where I'm at in terms of like trying to overanalyze like Sha'Carri Richardson and her antics when it comes to like a season progression. And so I'm not concerned whatsoever, and I think she'll turn up at the US championships
whatsoever. Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go, Sha'Carri. Let's go. Let's go, Sha'Carri.
Let's go. You got three people, I think, who are like in the Sha'Carri corner who are just like, yeah, I think like what she does is interesting, and interesting is good for track.
Yeah, Justin Gatlin on I Am Athlete was saying, yeah, it's cool. Like, she's gonna be ready. She's gonna be ready. That's what he was saying.
He was saying some crazy things on I Am Athlete.
Well, honestly, like, part of my reason into thinking is like, why did she pull out of all these races, and like, and was like nowhere really to sort of be seen. Like, yeah, I mean, she was very clearly at practice. You could see it on some of her Instagram stories. Like, she's in the gym, she's at the track, so she's putting in work. But I was so curious as to, like, Justin Gatlin made those comments about like how the top track athlete retires and then all of a sudden, like, that's it. Like, track doesn't set you up for life after track. So it's like, until something changes. Now, that's nice of Justin Gatlin to say, but it would have been better if he would have said something in the moment. Obviously, he was getting paid very well from sponsors and, got the Nike deal even after all the trials and tribulations that happened with him in his career. So Justin Gatlin was definitely on the higher end of, athletes getting paid well. He medaled at Worlds and performed well. So the stand that he took after he was done, great. But then, so I started thinking, was Sha'Carri in a sense trying to take some sort of stand by, like, all of a sudden not racing anymore until maybe that something changes and she wants to be that figure? But it seems that she's back in action, and hopefully, Justin Gatlin is a big influence on her, having, been training partners and someone that she saw at practice constantly, that maybe some of those comments of his, like, stood out to her. And yeah, again, this is me just sort of trying to make sense of the last couple of weeks as to why she was pulling out all these races. And I was thinking more, is like, is there a bigger meaning to this, where it's like, oh, I'm finally going to be one of the stars that says, no, I'm not going to race until I start getting paid better, or some of these other athletes start getting paid better. Because until a big star takes that sort of stand, then I don't think really too much is going to change.
I was talking to my dad about this, like, and I don't know what's going on or nothing, but I was just thinking, like, hey, Birmingham was like the day before, and she decided to not go to that big Diamond League meet. She decided to stay home. The only reason I would stay home is because you're not paying me what I need to be paid to be out there. It's not worth my time to go out there. So, and I'm not saying American Track League, they probably didn't pay her crazy or nothing like that, but, that was best for her to just go to a meet that was, right down the street, instead of flying across and getting not similar amount of money, not that much of a difference to her in her eyes. So I'm like, I don't know.
There's also the fact that the British media is very, very vicious sometimes. And I'm sure, like, it's not sort of like the setting that she wants to be part of, to be asked to do a press conference and then, go through with the race and then the post-race stuff. Like, this was very low key for her. And also, I mean, you just never know what could happen at a Diamond League. You said Trayvon Bromell went all the way across the pond to false start and then have to come back, and that's it. So, I mean, that sucks for someone like him to get put in that situation. Of course, like, hopefully maybe rules get relaxed or changed for fall starts at the Diamond League. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, like, Elaine Thompson also pulled out of the Birmingham meet, saying like it was like some sort of setback in training. And then she just ran in Jamaica last night and also ran really well. So it was like, whatever that was, she got over it quick. And so I don't know, like, it's again, track is a very individualized sport. You just have to do what it might be best for you in the longer run. Like, when your goal is to perform at the US championships and the world championships, like, going across, to the UK maybe isn't the best thing, timing wise. So yeah, I mean, again, you can read the Sha'Carri situation so many different ways, but I think we'll get so many more answers in the next couple of weeks. Starting with this weekend, pre-classic, yeah.
And if you want answers, you got to tune into the pre-classic. You got to tune into Worlds, because, like you said, the high end, she does good. Michelle Obama is tweeting about her. Nothing is better than track than that. Michelle Obama is talking about her. So
yeah, I was very disappointed when Chris said that Michelle Obama wasn't watching American Track League. I thought her and Bernice King were like popcorn ready watching American Track League.
No,
miles.
That's a dream. That's a dream. Yeah, no, she's got better things to do on a Saturday night.
But before we get you out of here, like you guys were saying, pre-classic this weekend, Friday and Saturday, it's going down. Some world record attempts, some fire races. Chris, what are you most excited to see this weekend?
Well, honestly, I hope that the full squad shows up for the men's 100. Like, the men's 100 is absolutely stacked. I'm pulling it up right now so I don't miss anyone's name. So men's 100, they've called it the Tokyo Rewind, because it is Lamont Marcel Jacobs, the Olympic champion, Fred Curley, the Olympic silver medalist. Then after that, who's the Olympic bronze medalist in Tokyo?
Andre DeGrasse.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, so he's in it. So you got all three. Then you got Ronnie Baker, Kenny Bednarik, Marvin Bracey, Christian Coleman, the reigning world champion,
Oof.
Noah Lyles, and
Oh
Arian
my
Knighton. You're using 9 lanes for this one because Arian Knighton decided to run hella fast at in the 200, and so he's like, excuse me, I'd like a lane, and they obviously put it to use. And so, yeah, the favorite in this one, that's the tough part. Like you could make a case for all the different people. Actually, I think you could make a case for 4 of the 9. I think the 4 I would say that are the strongest in this one would probably be Lamont Jacobs, although he didn't run as fast in his first 100 of the season. He pulled out of the meet in Kenya. Fred Curley has run really fast and he shows up in these races, so I don't expect him to finish any lower than second, no matter what. If he either wins or finishes second in this race. Christian Coleman, he's good. I mean, I think he'll rise to the occasion. He's got a little bit more fire under him, I think, after how indoors went. And then after that, I think the 4th person I'd maybe give this to would be, is it Marvin Bracey? Am I crazy to think?
Or Bermel? Did you say Bermel? Is Bermel?
Bermel's not in this one.
He's not
No.
in it. Bro, I want Christian Coleman to win this race. I think he can win this race. I know he didn't look that good in Tokyo when he ran out in that race in Tokyo.
It was cold. That was really cold and windy. So, yeah. I mean, that's fine.
But he ran, the 19.9 out in Kentucky. Like, he could run a good 200. Like, he can run a good 200, but he's a 100-meter guy, 100-meter specialist. I think he's about to be... I want him to win this race. I can see him winning this race.
I didn't tune into the American track. Did Arian Knighton end up running yesterday in the 100?
No, I didn't tune in. I don't think so, though.
No, so I mean, like that. He's the big question mark. I would say that.
Yeah, he's the big question mark.
He's definitely breaking 10 for the first time.
That's what I'm most intrigued by is Arian Knighton in that race and see what he's gonna do. But I think, like you're saying, Joshua, for Coleman, I think this is his welcome back moment. Like we said, like indoor, you could say when he got second, but this is his moment to really, like, if he takes this dub and he's just like, I'm here, I'm him, I am the favorite, to show everyone, like, yo, I was gone, but I am the favorite when it comes to Eugene. Like, I'm the best in the world. This guy only won because I was gone. I feel like this is really his time to really shine. So that's a good choice.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for that because, like, and I'm going to be working on several different previews for the meet this week. I'll probably do like a sprint preview, a distance preview, and then a field events preview. Just because, I mean, every single part of it is fantastic. Or I think, yeah, I'll do something like that. But yeah, so I mean, like, that's the one that I've obviously got my eyes on. And then as a big throws guy, of course, I'll watch the shot put with Kovacs making his return, facing off against Krauser and Tom Walsh, and that'll be great as well, I think. So then the U.S. Championships on Friday night. So I mean, like, that's gonna be great.
What's more likely, Gade breaking her 5,000 record or Cheptegei breaking his 5,000 record?
I will say Gade breaking her 5,000 meter record. But now, because my big thing is she gonna break 14, and I want to know what the lights are gonna be set at for that one. Because sub 14 women's 5K,
it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wait,
what is that happening?
What did she run? 14:05?
14:05 or 14:06, I think. Yeah.
God. Dude. Yeah, man. I'm hyped for that. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that's more like.
It's so much better than a 1 hour record. I'll tell you. Like I don't know, like for spectators, maybe not the best thing to have them sit through and watch one person run on a track for a no set distance, just a set amount of time. Like, you're going to be here for an hour, so you better enjoy this. Like, you better get a good playlist for something like that. But for 5K, that's entertaining.
I'm with that Gade too, because she's ran like that half marathon that she did too. Like, she's definitely stronger since the last time she ran that Valencia World Record Day. Like, she's stronger than that before. Like, that's going down. I'm curious if the lights gonna be set at too. 13:40? No, I'm just playing. Hold on.
No, but the thing with Cheptegei is that he's beatable, and like, he's a little bit unpredictable sometimes. Like, it's not that he's been undefeated ever since, you know, this big since setting the world record. He's lost a couple times, and so one rough day and the weather maybe being off a little bit. I haven't taken a look at what the weather is going to be, but it might not call for perfect conditions or a side stitch. You just never know, and so I think, like, there's more risk with Cheptegei.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Francine Niyonsaba too. I got her signed bib from last year, bro. Like I don't even know. I don't know what the women's record is in the 2 mile, but I'm rooting hard for her in that one. I might bring the bib back to get it signed again.
Yeah, just to add the time.
Yes.
I'm dead, bro. That was a funny night. That was a great night. But Chris, it's been a pleasure, man. It really has been a pleasure. We'll see you this Friday at the pre-classic.
I know.
In Eugene. That's wow. We're gonna be in Eugene. First time of 3 trips for us. 4 trips for us. We're gonna be in there 4 different times.
You're doing 4? I'm doing 3, and I already think that's a lot. Wow.
We're gonna be in Eugene 4 times. We're gonna try out all the different spots to let you guys know where's the best place to eat. We're gonna look deep for y'all. We're gonna look deep for the best spots.
Hey, we got after the final lap happening on Friday and Saturday, live from the pre-classic. So tune into that on the Citius Mag YouTube channel. You guys are more than welcome to pop by as well.
Hey, we'll have to tap in for sure.
May just have to. But it's been a pleasure. Thank y'all for everyone listening. You're definitely a real one. You listen to this podcast, and hey, let's get it. See y'all at pre. Let's go.
I love track and field.